What if I told you that the best tool for stopping crime isn't a high-tech camera or a stronger lock, but actually the design of the world around us? In this explainer, we're going to dig into how the simple layout of our streets, our parks, and our buildings can make us all a whole lot safer.
I mean, think about it. You've felt this before, right? That feeling you get walking down a wide, bright street is totally different from the feeling you get near a dark, overgrown alley. Well, that gut feeling you have, it isn't just in your head. It's your brain reacting to design clues. And the answer to why one place feels safe and another doesn't, it almost always comes down to design.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to break down the simple, core recipe for literally any crime. Then, we'll get into the practical toolkit, how you can actually take that recipe and just pull it apart. And finally, we'll zoom out and see where this idea fits into the much bigger world of security. All right, let's jump into Section 1, the anatomy of crime. Look, if you want to stop something, you first have to understand exactly how it works. So think of this part as learning the basic ingredients that absolutely must be in place for any kind of security incident to happen. And you know what's kind of wild? The recipe only has 3 ingredients. That's it. For any crime to actually happen, whether it's a stolen bike or something way more serious, 3 specific things have to come together at the exact same moment. And this is what the pros call the crime triangle. So what are the 3 sides? First, you've got motive. That's the why, the desire someone has to do the thing. Second is ability, having the right skills or the right tools for the job. And the third, and this is the big one for us, is opportunity. It's the perfect moment, the weakness that lets it all happen.
Now, here's where we get strategic. When it comes to someone's motive, honestly, there's not a lot we can do about that. We can't really control what's going on in someone else's head, but we can absolutely influence the other 2. We can make it harder for them to have the ability, and most importantly, we can work to take away the opportunity altogether.
And this is the most important takeaway. You don't have to fix all 3 issues. You just have to remove one side of that triangle. You take one leg off the stool and the whole thing collapses. The crime is stopped before it even starts. And the side that's easiest for us to control, the one we can really target, that's opportunity. So if we all agree that opportunity is our main target, the next question is, how do we get rid of it? Well, that brings us right into Section 2. We're about to open up a really powerful toolkit for designing danger right out of a place. So the fancy term for this toolkit is CPTED. It stands for Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. And it's not about what you might think, like just adding more cameras and bigger locks. No, it's a much smarter, more proactive strategy that uses the actual physical environment to make criminals feel uncomfortable and unwelcome. CPTED is really built on 4 main ideas, 4 core principles. We've got natural surveillance, natural access control, territorial reinforcement, and maintenance. Let's break down what each of those actually means.
First up is natural surveillance. The idea here is really simple. Criminals hate having an audience. So, if you design spaces with clear lines of sight, we're talking low bushes instead of giant hedges, windows that face the street, and just plain old good lighting, you make potential offenders feel like they're on a stage. It's all about putting more eyes on the street.
Next, we've got natural access control. Now, this isn't about building a fortress. It's way more subtle than that. It's about using things like pathways, flower beds, and low fences to naturally guide people where they're supposed to go. That way, anyone who wanders off the path immediately looks out of place. It makes them stick out. Okay, our third principle is territorial reinforcement. This one's all about psychology. It's about creating a clear feeling of ownership, a line that says, public space ends here and private space begins. You can do this with something as simple as changing the paving stones, planting a small garden, or putting up a little decorative fence. It sends a powerful, unspoken message. You're crossing a boundary now. And that feeling of ownership, that clear boundary, creates something called defensible space. When people feel like a space is truly theirs, they're so much more likely to look out for it, to maintain it, and even to challenge strangers who don't belong. They basically become the space's own security guards.
And finally, we've got maintenance. And trust me, this one is so important. A clean, well-maintained area sends a powerful signal that people are watching, that they care. It's the whole idea behind the famous broken windows theory. If a place looks neglected and run down, it practically screams, no one's paying attention here, and that can attract bigger problems.
All right, so we have the problem, which is the crime triangle, and we have a design-based solution, CPTED. For our last section, let's just zoom out a little and see how preventing crime fits into the overall bigger picture of what security is all about. See, it's really helpful to remember that preventing crime is just one part of the job. Security pros are also thinking about preventing accidents, reducing expensive mistakes, cutting down on waste, and all sorts of other things. And what's cool is that these CPTED principles often help with those other goals too. They create spaces that aren't just safer from crime, but are just better, period.
And really, that's the whole point. Thinking about crime prevention through design isn't just a tactic to stop bad guys. It's a strategy for building better, more resilient, and more efficient environments for everyone. When you design a space thoughtfully, you're not just solving one problem, you're often solving a whole bunch of them at the same time.
So, there you have it. We've broken crime down into its 3 basic parts, and now you have 4 powerful design principles to fight back. I'm willing to bet this changes how you look at the world around you. So I'll just leave you with this one question. Now that you have this toolkit, what's one small change you can make in your world, at home, on your street, at work, to help design danger out?